Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. The JAMODI podcast is powered by Sideline Interactive. Sideline Interactive is the leading manufacturer for high-quality, innovative scoring tables and LED video display boards that help coaches and schools bring more excitement to fans, create huge fundraising opportunities, and make their jobs easier. Visit sidelineinteractive.com to check out their amazing products. Especially with your experience valuing the three-point line and then how you did later on. I love what you said. Every coach, for the most part, has been involved with analytics, whether they realize it or not. Like when you talk about shot selection, that's analytics. So at the highest level in college basketball, how did you teach or go about discussing shot selection with your team?
Yeah, this is one of the biggest things that I wish I would have known about. It's the best thing that I learned in the last year. You can coach 1,000 years and you're still learning great stuff, if you just keep working at it. But shot selection, I had a coach years ago say that, shot selection is the number one thing that a coach should be worried about, which, that's a pretty strong statement, right? But that's what wins and loses games more than anything else. And you could argue that. I don't know if it's true, but it stuck with me. I always then, back in the day, tried to obviously start out with, well, who puts it in the basket the most? Who puts it in the least? So we're going to try to run the offense through the best ones. And then we're going to talk about slowly, I really want you to shoot this, but I'm not so sure about that. And so then that dialogue of trying to make them understand what you thought was a good shot and a bad shot. But recently, I learned from an NBA coach, instead of just, and I think this was the best. This was the best thing new thing we did this year is instead of saying that's a terrible shot and that's a great shot and I don't really like that shot. Those are so ambiguous anyway. Is we just had a numbering system, so we turned it into math and we said. I was actually taught 5, but I thought that was too many. But 0 through 4, here's our shot selection on offense and defense. Like when zeros mean you turned it over. So obviously when we're on defense, we want as many zeros as we can. And well, God, we don't want any zeros on offense. So we'll start there. And then a 4, that was our top. A 4, those are what is great analytics. A step in 3 for guys that can shoot. It's the best one is a dunk or a layup. The second one is a free throw. The third one is a step in 3. Those are our 4s. We want to play a whole game and do nothing but get 4s, which of course we never did, but we want to. And we don't want the other team doing that. We don't want them at the line. We don't want them shooting layups and dunks, and we don't want them shooting step in 3s. And so we just say that was a 4. Offense, great. We've had 2 4s in a row. Or defense. You're going to give up. You're going to give up 128 points. You're giving up 4s, and then a 1 is just that's a terrible shot. You just dribbled into a guarded, hard, arched up hook shot. Like no 1s. We don't want any 1s. Don't shoot 1s unless the shot clock is about to expire. So that really helped, and so that made it more. So we could kind of define what a 4 is for you and what a 1 is for you, and 2 and 3 may be a little vague, but I could kind of get it to where it's not a bad shot for you. It's a good one. And I like that a lot better. So I liked numbers on shot selection far more. And it took only 38 years to get this. Okay. This 38 years before it became more of a math than an English class. And, just that don't shoot that. That's not a good shot. Nobody wants to really hear that.
No.
But to just tell you, hey, bud, that's a 1. You just shot a 1. That's not going to get it, and vice versa. We're on defense. Like, look, they've only had 1s. That's all they can get. They can just throw up a 1. That's all they're getting right now. And so I like that language. I like that mentality. And our players seem to it fit them, I think.
Coach, I love that. That shot selection scale is powerful. And it's nice whenever I get to have these talks with amazing coaches like yourself, and they talk about something that I actually do. There's quite often that I hear things that are brilliant that I don't do and that I have to add in and learn. But this is something that, yeah, we do it at Faith. I learned it from Point Guard College, from PGC. It has transformed how I interact with players about what, in my opinion, is the most personal thing in the game, is the shots that they are allowed to take.
Right.
And when you take that emotion out of it, I've also found that, like in your example of the one, you say, hey, I think that's a one. Then you get to ask the question without emotion. Tell me why you felt like you needed to take that one. And then maybe you get deeper into really what that player's seeing, or some hidden maybe jealousy or anger, whatever it is. But that's powerful, Coach.
It's exactly right. And you were a heck of a player. You remember what those words, when I played, I remember what those words, and that was you said it best. That's the most personal thing. You start messing with that, right? That's the toughest one. That's the toughest language, in my opinion. Coach players, hey, that's a horrible shot, and I want to shoot every ball. Well, so does everybody. But, we got to get this figured out. We got to win, too. We can't just throw balls up there and bang them off the backboard. So
that's right.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree.
And then it seems to me like it also connects really well to your skill work, because instead of just shooting volume threes, well, all right, now we're going to play this shooting game. And in this shooting game, it'll really demonstrate whether this is a 4 for you or not. Yes. Clarity, Coach. Clarity is what we want.
Yes, that's exactly right. And it made it so much easier. Or all of a sudden you just shoot a bunch of, this is one, I think now that this is your grayest area. Back in the day, my day, you're younger, but a mid-range game was kind of how it was played, because if you're a guy shooting from what is now the three-point line, your coach might be like, work the ball. We want to get the ball closer, and get it closer. That's the olden days. And then, so that meant back in those days, you had to have a good mid-range pull-up game. That's what I think most of us learned to pull up, right? You drive in there and you pull up. Well, now, analytically, that's what we want everybody to do. We want everybody to get off the line and dribble in there and shoot a guarded pull-up, right? So at the same time, there are guys, and I've coached some, who had a great mid-range game. And analytically, to me, it was like a 4-3 with them. Like, these guys are going to make half of these or more. And so that's when you kind of had to really be honest with you. Look, he's got a great pull-up. Your pull-up, we just shot, 25 of them with no one guarding you, and you made 9. You're not good at this. And we would see in the shooting drills, let's say you do the step in 3 shot fake, 1 dribble, shoot it inside the line. It's amazing how the percentages go down. Right. With most guys. And in other words, most guys off the dribble shoot it way, way worse than off the catch and stepping into it. So, yeah, those numbers all helped. I think shot selection plus analytics is for me was the number one thing to grab a hold of.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.